What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another 15-minute segment. I am live. It is past midnight, December 2nd, and this segment is going to be a continuation of my last live stream. And if you're new, what I'm doing here is 15 minutes on a specific topic, and I set my little timer on my Windows computer. I go for 15 minutes, then I stop. So last time I streamed, it was like 3 or 4 days ago. I came up with this idea of like my ideal lifestyle. So this is going to be a continuation of that, and it's just sort of like an exercise in continuing the story a little bit. But if you haven't heard that, if you haven't heard part one or the original video of my ideal lifestyle, I would recommend listening to that first so you can get an idea of like what I'm doing here. Self-taught live streamer. So if my radio chops aren't good enough for you, I'm improving them as I go, but I guess I'll start the timer now and we'll do a little summary. So there goes the timer. And basically, the summarization is like I live in a log cabin. It's got a twin size bed, kitchenette. There's like a couch, TV. Now, normally, and of course, 100 yards away, there's another log cabin, similarly, where my companion, Holly, lives. And Holly has the looks of one of Hugh Hefner's girls next door and the brain of J.K. Rowling. And we go on walks every day, and we have our lifestyle, and I drive a car, but we're going to introduce some new information into the story as we go. So yeah, if you haven't heard part one, go back and listen to that, and we'll start from there. But this is a different day, and today I've woken up, and it's raining outside. It's still 7 in the morning, my normal wake-up time. It's raining, it's overcast. So I wake up at 7. Now, normally I'd be watching cartoons and the sun would be shining and I'd be totally amazed at what I was seeing and totally enthusiastic about watching the cartoons and in my own world of complete pleasure. But today it's raining, overcast, and on TV instead I'm watching a rerun of The Crow, the movie starring Brandon Lee. So it's raining, overcast, I'm watching The Crow, and instead of Honey Nut Cheerios, no, instead of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I'm going to go with Honey Nut Cheerios. So I watch The Crow for a little bit. Then I leave the TV on and I walk across my log cabin to the kitchen table where I fire up some Honey Nut Cheerios. I guess one aside is that I don't have, I can't drink milk these days or like dairy, so I do oat milk. I was doing almond milk as well. It's basically the same thing, really. Anyway, got the Honey Nut Cheerios going. And a little bit of I'm reading the newspaper, and now I'm going to finally discuss coffee. I guess I'm doing a pour over coffee. Doesn't really matter what brand. Maybe I'll have espresso. Well, I don't really know. Anyway. Oh yeah, I'm reading the newspaper, but I don't like reading the Post much lately. So instead I'm reading like a local newspaper. And I can hear the rain softly hitting against the windows of my log cabin. And I just kind of do that for a while. Then I like sit on the couch. And before I know it, it's 11:30. And if you're familiar with my ideal lifestyle, you know that 11:30 is when Holly comes over. And then we go for our walk. But it's raining today. But I'm still expecting her to show up. But she's at 11:30. I look at the door and she hasn't knocked. So I say to myself, you know what? I'll give her an extra 15, 20 minutes before I, intervene and see. So I keep waiting. I give her 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Still, she's not there. But The Crow's still on TV, so I go back on the twin bed, and I start watching The Crow. And I like fall asleep and wake up again, and I look at my watch and it's 12:30 and she still hasn't come over. And then I start getting curious. So what I do is I put on my rain jacket and my sneakers and I close the front door of my log cabin and I start walking the 100 yards away to go over to her cabin, even though I've never been inside. And she's always supposed to come over to my place so we can meet up for the walk. So because I'm curious now, I want to know what's going on. Where is she at? So I'm walking over. It's raining out. And finally, I show up at her front door and I knock, but there's no answer. So I knock again. Then I kind of like pace back and forth. Still no answer. Now, I don't want to violate her personal space, so what I do is I give it a couple minutes, 5 minutes, and then I test the door handle out, and I turn the door handle, and the cabin's open. And I go inside because I'm curious about what's going on. Where is she at? And I open the cabin door up. Let me just hold on a second. Oh, yeah, I open up the cabin door, just testing my stream here to make sure I'm still going. And I am. And when I go inside, you know, I was around before Holly came around, so her cabin was already built before she came around, so I know what it should look like. But when I walk in, I'm still sort of amazed because as soon as I walk in, I notice she has everything set up in a totally different way. And right at the entrance, there's a diorama. And the diorama is like a Christmas sort of setting. Just give me 1 second while I have some water. And it's like all of a sudden I'm looking at this like little thing that she built. It's like a Christmas diorama. And it's like a gothic Christmas thing. And I'm like, what is this thing? Is crazy. It's like Santa Claus with like a black suit on, and there's like fake blood dripping, and it's like really varied. And I'm amazed by this diorama. So I can't stop looking at it. And then I look up a little bit and I see she's got like a little table with a laptop. And in my head, I go, that's where she's writing the novels. She's writing them on the laptop. But while I'm looking at the diorama, I totally forget the reason why I'm even there, which is to find out where she's at. Then, basically, what ends up happening is I'm staring at Santa Claus. I'm staring at Gothic Santa Claus, and then I look up because I hear a door swing open. It goes, boom. The door swings open, and then I see the outline of a figure. And I hear a noise. I hear like a groan, like, ugh. I look up, and it's Holly, and she's only got on, her back is facing me, and she's got on like, she's only wearing granny panties. And in the granny panties, I see there's a huge, chunky skid mark. And I go, oh. And then I get up. She didn't see me, though. She didn't see me. I get up, I turn around, and I leave. And behind me, I pull the door behind me to get out of there. And when I slam the door behind me, I go, she must have seen me because I just slammed the door so loud. But then I'm panicked. But what I do is, I didn't say anything. I just left. And now I'm walking back, and my legs are energized, and I'm going, doom, 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 and I'm walking back to my place in the rain. And I go, I shouldn't have gone in. I keep saying to myself over and over again, I shouldn't have gone in. But I did, and that's what happens. So by this time, it's about 1 p.m., and I'm ready for lunch. But I don't really know what I'm going to have, so instead of having lunch right away, and I had a ton of Honey Nut Cheerios, so I'm pretty full by this point, I head over to my Olympic swimming pool, where, by the way, in part 1, I didn't mention the fact that I do have an Olympic swimming pool on the premises, but it's also underneath a dome, and it's a state-of-the-art facility so that I can do my laps when it's rain or shine. So because it's raining, the dome is closed, but it's heated inside, and the water's heated as well. And there's a very small staff that works on the premises, and one of the guys, the main character, is a guy named Teddy, and Teddy is an old English guy actually, who's a cabbie, a former cabbie, but now he works for me. So I walk over to the pool, and I got my little duffel bag, my swim shorts in there, and Teddy's sitting at the desk, and I basically say, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, you know," and he's reading the paper too. Some remarks with Teddy, and then I basically just, you know, I get to swim in the laps. I'm guessing there's like a small little dressing room. I'm not taking my pants off in front of Teddy right away. But yeah, I maybe you know what? I put on my swim shorts in my cabin, and then when I get in front of Teddy, I whip them off like those parachute pants with buttons on the side. I just rip them off, and then I dance my little jig into the pool, and I start swimming laps, and I start thinking about what the hell am I going to have for lunch today? Because yesterday I had a chicken club, and it was really good, but I'm not in the mood for chicken clubs, so instead I finally land on roast beef with cheddar, mayo, lettuce, tomato, onion on a hard roll, and a side of macaroni salad. But I'm not in the mood to cook, so once I'm about 10 laps in, I pop up from the water and I go, "Teddy, this is what I want." And he comes over and listens, and he writes it down. And I go, "I'm going to be ready for lunch in an hour." And he goes, "Yes, yes, sir." And I get out of the pool. I do a couple more laps. I'm swimming laps for like, I don't know, 45 minutes. Do some more laps. Get out of the pool, dry off, and put my clothes back on and walk back to my cabin. Then basically, I sit there and I have my little roast beef sandwich. And then, yeah, I know, see, what happened earlier in the day totally put a wrench into things because normally Holly and I are supposed to meet up, go on a walk and mind meld. And I don't care that it was raining because we'll bring an umbrella. We can each have our own umbrella. And, you know, we could have gone for our little walk, but obviously that didn't happen. But we end up not communicating for the rest of the day. So I hear nothing from her at all. And basically, I got my notes here. Okay, yeah. So we don't communicate. Now, sometimes what she does is I have a computer and she'll hit me with an instant message on my laptop occasionally, not too often, but sometimes. You know, there've been times where there was like 4 feet of snow that neither of us predicted, so that it would have been impossible for me to get the 100 yards over to her cabin or vice versa. So then we're left with instant messages. And because we see each other every day, there's no need for extended phone conversations. So, and she's busy writing her novels anyway. So, but we don't talk for the rest of the day. And I have my roast beef with cheddar, lettuce, tomato, mayo, onion. And then the rest of the night, I guess I just continue to work on my analytical projects and whatnot. And today's been a different day, but you know, there's always room for change. And I end up just going to sleep. And as I'm fading off to sleep, I'm wondering, how is this going to resolve between myself and Holly? And God, I hope I haven't said the wrong name because I've named this companion character Holly, and I know I'm gonna like slip and say the wrong name of some girl I used to go out with. But please, Lord, help me, help me not do it. But if I do, whatever. They're not listening anyway, so who cares? But anyway, the next and nothing is. This is all This is a fucking fantasy. The next day, I wake up and The Crow is on again, and I watch the remainder of The Crow. because it's on reruns every day or whatever. So I wake up and do that. But the night before, I'd also hit up Teddy and I said, Teddy, I need a tube of brown acrylic paint and I need a package of Fruit of the Loom Tidy Whities. And he says, yes, no problem, sir. So those have been delivered after lunch when I was working on my analytical projects. So I have that. And basically what I do is I squeeze the tube of acrylic paint onto the back of the Tidy Whities. And I have those and I let it dry overnight. And what I do is the next morning I wake up and I put on some pair of blue jeans, like Lee's. I put on some dungarees. And then I slide these Tidy Whities with the acrylic paint on the back over the top of my blue jeans. And I sit at my my table at my kitchenette. Now, this morning, I definitely am going to get espresso. Forget about the pour over coffee. I'm having espresso, and I'm using a machine that was gifted to me, expensive espresso machine. Forgot the exact model, but we'll get to that in future conversations. Anyway, I'm sitting there at the breakfast table with my blue jeans and my Tidy Whities over the top, and there's the 15 minutes, but we're gonna conclude. And I hear a knock at the door. It goes, and I go, oh. I look up, and it's Holly. And I open the door, and she's all done up, and she's like, she looks as good as ever. And she has full makeup on and everything, and she has a wicker basket with her. And I go, what do you got in the basket? And she goes, oh, I brought muffins over. I go, okay. So we sit there and we have the muffins, and I start eating the muffins. It's me and her. This is our first interaction since what went down yesterday. And, I start eating the muffins. I go, wow, these are so good. I can't believe how good these muffins are. And then I go, so how's the book writing going? And she goes, oh, well, it's going good. And then we talk for a little bit. And I go, excuse me a second. And I stand up. And then she notices that I have the Tidy Whities on over my blue jeans. And then I turn around. And I look back at her. And the day has begun. And that's basically, the end of today's live stream. But let me know in the comments if you think I should continue to do more segments in this ideal lifestyle fantasy story. And because I have more ideas, and obviously we've introduced Teddy into the mix, I've given you some more information about my Olympic-sized swimming pool and Holly and everything. But I have more ideas, and write it in the comments if you want me to continue. But I've had some different segments coming up as well.